Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. For the time being, I will address this. Let me get my dashboard pulled up here. Not getting any sound. That might be on your end. Make sure you haven't muted the stream, and if still no good, then reload. It just says I'm giving you sound. So I don't think it's on my end. Can anyone? Yeah, Rashad can hear me. Okay, that's what I expected. So, yeah, I'm getting green lights on the mic, so it should be okay. Okay, there's my dashboard. All right. Great. So if you're having trouble with your sound, make sure it's not muted. And if it's not muted and you're still not hearing it, then refresh your browser. That usually will sort things out. Yeah, that can happen for a number of reasons. Things like Twitch and Discord sometimes will meet each other. I've noticed this on YouTube as well. So I think there's been some change in browser architecture that's starting to do that. I'm not quite sure what it is, though. It might be a Firefox thing. That's what I use. So I have noticed it. Okay. Got some tightness in my shoulder. Trying to stretch it out today. Yeah, so that's okay. No problem. Check for your meetings, things like that. Okay, I'll come back to this and tell you more about that in a little bit. So let's talk about announcements. So announcements are in the place they always are. If you ever think you missed something or you missed class or something, this is a good place to look. Come take a look at the announcement slides. And hopefully all of your questions will be answered there, or at least most of them. Okay. Oh, wrong button. It's Shift F5, not Alt F5. Something is beeping nearby. It's driving me crazy. Hopefully you can't hear it. It's not very loud, but it's just like this. Every few seconds, and it's kind of driving me crazy. It's like water dripping, but then electronic instead. Okay, so we have mostly recap stuff for announcements. Just, reminder about the climate study, survey, doing lectures here. As usual, if you can hear me, you found the Twitch page, so that's nothing complicated. Office hours, or questions during lecture. If you don't want to put things into the Twitch chat, you can do so on the Discord. It's linked in the announcements. There's a thing above my head that's got the link. There's links below the Twitch stream if you want to click on things. Lots of places for that. You can always ping me and I'll get a notification. I tried during office hours. I thought I've been doing it every time, but I realized today as I started the class that I actually wasn't in the lobby properly. So I was here for office hours. If you had messaged me, I was here to be there. I tried to actually be waiting in the voice call. And it said I was connected, but I'm not sure what I was connected to because I wasn't actually in the lobby, so that was my fault. But usually I'm in there. Tutors have a joint email. I told you like a week ago that I thought there had been a mistake. Turns out that was it was fine. The person that I talked to about it being a mistake was partially incorrect. She was partially correct as well, but partially incorrect. That is in fact the correct email address, I've been told. As you should hopefully know by now, assignments are replaced with MindTap stuff. They're visible on the MindTap calendar. The Chapter 9 assignment deadline I extended to give you some time to review the videos, but I have not had a chance to make them. I've been working late on trying to get stuff ready for my stats class, but we've got an exam this weekend, and trying to get that converted to an online format has been a big pain, much harder than I thought, than I predicted. So I've been pulling my hair out on that, and that's what I'm gonna work on after this class. I'm still not done, so consequently, I have extended the deadline further. I've moved it all the way back to this upcoming Tuesday. So the video, the videos will be ready when they're ready. At this point, I'm expecting that I'll get to them tomorrow, but I can't promise anything. I realized earlier when I was telling you what to do, to unmute me, you couldn't hear me. So that wasn't very helpful. So I'll try to type into the chat when someone says they can't hear me. Woo! Where's my water? Did I not bring it downstairs again? Oh, there it is. I haven't noticed the stream dipping on my end. My green light is, at least at the moment, is strong. If it's freezing on your end, unfortunately, that's probably on your internet provider, which is really common right now. Everyone's internet is laggy right now. It's really frustrating. If you miss anything, there's always these videos, which, by the way, Fabi asked about Chapter 10 videos. Chapter 10, I'm covering in more detail. So, yes, there are Chapter 10 videos. They are these lectures. These lectures will be sufficient for Chapter 10, as you'll see. So today we're just doing practice problems, basically, is all we're going to do today. You're welcome. Okay, so like I said, I will record those videos. I promise. I haven't forgotten, and it's just firing. I'm just fighting fires. That's all day, every day. For example, I've been trying to troubleshoot with some of you. I've had a lot of questions about the online analytics solver platform. There have been a lot of issues, a lot of confusion, and I've discovered that a lot of it is because of the link that I thought I had to give you. Like, I thought it was the only link or the best link. There were a whole bunch of buttons you could push that weren't the right one, and it wasn't clear which one was correct. And if you pushed the wrong ones, it would just take you to the download link, which would ask you for your course code and your book code and all these kinds of things, and ask you to pay money and stuff. You don't need to do that. There is a better link that will take you directly to the analytics solver, the online analytics solver platform. Let me show you where that is. Online learning resources, right here. Analytics solver platform online. This is the one right here. You click this, and it'll stick you on this login. Now, if you haven't made an account yet, register as a new user and sign up as a 14-day free trial. Yeah, perfect timing. Exactly. Yeah, take the 14-day free trial. I imagine they'll let you renew the 14-day trial. They said they were letting everyone do it for free. So that's how other people are doing it. So hopefully that's how it's going to work. Okay. And the last thing on the announcements, very last thing, I have been feeling frustrated that I haven't had the time to grade anything. So I have gone ahead and I got the grades in for chapters 3, 4, and 7 homeworks. Those are completion grades. So if you turned something in, you got 100. So I finally got that done. That's finally finished. So at least there's something. At least something has been graded. So I can feel at least good making progress. Although much more needs to be done. But at least there's something. Okay. So not much new today. A little is better than nothing. I feel that way too. I'm glad that you feel that way. I know we've got a ways to go. I need to go back and look. I know I have the exam left, obviously, but I'm not sure if there's anything else that I've missed. I think that may be it, except for the exam for your class. But I have a couple things for my my statistics class that I needed to do. We had a quiz, didn't we? Yeah, I wasn't showing up under quizzes, but yes, we have a quiz. Okay, quiz and the exam. All right, I'll get there. I promise. It'll happen eventually. It's just getting this transition going sucks. I'm very stiff today. Resume second. I don't know what that means. Resume second? Is that what that means? Oh, yeah. Resume. Haha. Those words are spelled the same. That's funny. Escape. That's funny. It's spelled just like the word escape. You're right. I actually did forget about this. Okay. Oh, that's not. Oh, geez. I'm pushing all the wrong buttons. The logo for Outlook and Word are too similar, and I misclick on one when I meant the other all the time. Except I usually just click Outlook for both of them. My brain can't differentiate. Okay. I actually have been meaning to sit down and actually write what I'm missing. Okay, so resume resubmissions. We need quiz 1. No, that's quiz 1, yeah. Quiz 1 and the midterm. Cool. And then I'll have to add any extra credit you got. I think I promised you that on the midterm, didn't I? Let's see. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so I'll do resume resubmissions, quiz, midterm, and midterm bonus points. Okay, I think that's everything that I'm missing for you guys. Unfortunately, the list is longer than that for the statistics class. It's kind of a mess right now. It's like when Hagrid's like, lots to buy in the first Harry Potter movie, except it's lots to grade. Okay, my chat's covered. What? I added the actually is it automatic? Did I get it set up correctly? Let me see. Oh, it is automatic. Wait, what do you know? Well, swell. I think it's set up correctly anyway. We'll see. I need to check this. I'm still going to add it to my list because based on what I'm looking at here, it doesn't quite look right. I think the weighting's wrong on one of these. Yeah, I'll have to play with it. Yeah, I'll get it set up. I'll get it figured out. Just saying. Yeah, you're right. You're not wrong. Okay. Let me get the grade book off the screen before I put it back. Okay. Where were we? I know. Okay, so it's time for a vocab quiz. Hope you didn't forget. Vocab quiz is now available. So, as with last time, there are fewer words this time. There are only 9 words, but the whole thing's still out. It's going to be worth 10 points. So, but there are 9 words matching just like last time. You have 15 minutes to complete it. Let's get cracking. I'm once again going to mute the dinging. And if you finish and want to chat with me, I'll be here. But now I just got to remember how to do this. Settings. Notifications. Okay. No, the noise gate's going up. All right, I think everybody's done, right? Anybody still working? I've been quiet. Sorry. I've been trying to get people quiet to do their vocab quizzes. I think everyone's done. I did have a student reach out to me to say that he would be coming in around 4:35, so I wanted to make sure that he had at least 10 minutes to do the vocab quiz. But I think that's everybody. If you haven't finished your vocab quiz, you have until 5 o'clock. Please go ahead and get that dot knocked out, but we need to move on. I was trying to answer a question I had earlier, which was, like, can I cut out this part from the video? And I tried to do it a couple different ways. One way I can easily do it is to just put in, like, timestamps in the video and be like, hey, this is when this happens, this is when this happens, and you just fast forward. But I thought it'd be nice to be able to cut it out. And the only thing that I found with the software I have to rewatch my own video at regular speed. So I'd have to sit there for, like, 20 minutes and, like, re-record it, basically, and that's really boring and slow. But I just found this. Adobe Creative Cloud comes with literally everything. Like, look at all this. Photoshop, Lightroom, Illustrator, InDesign, Premiere, which is video production, After Effects, like freaking everything, Dreamweaver, Acrobat Pro, everything. $20 a month. If it were just $20, that'd be great. But I heard that the university was willing to pay for software if it would help with tools. So I'm gonna try and pitch the university. I don't know what the what's the yearly rate. They said you could do it. It's not any cheaper. That's just 12 times. All right, well, I'll mess with this later. So yeah, this is the student thing. It should be $20 a month. This is the student and teacher edition available through NEIU. Well, this is an employee discount, but I don't know. It might be that it's $30 for students. Usually, the student deal is better than the faculty one. So, not that I'm bitter or anything, because in fairness, I got stuff when I was a student. Although I was pretty salty because I paid for Microsoft Office. It was like $550 back in the day. And then the next year they announced that it was going to be free for students. And I was like, I hate you guys. I was pretty upset about it, to be honest. Okay, I'm going to call my boss and ask him about this. Like, hey, big man, what do you think? Huh? What do you think? What do you think about this? All right, let me turn chat notes back on. Enabled. Okay. Let's get to it. Let's do it. We got 40 minutes to talk about 3 spreadsheet models and some other little sprinkles. So, yeah, Billy, give that a look. I think it's $20 a month. I think I can save you 10 big ones. All I ask is a finder's fee. You know what I'm saying? $1 a month. I don't even bother. That's not worth it. Don't even Venmo me $1 freaking a month, man. No way. Nah. You don't ask for a 100% finder fee. What's that all about, man? No. I thought maybe we go 50-50 on it, but I don't feel like, I don't know. No, that's too much, man. That's too much. Oh, well. He can just have it all. It's fine. It's the kind of guy I am. All right, so a reminder, if you're trying to go to the Analytics Solver thing online, here is your link. Okay. So we've got a little bit left. We actually have very few slides to cover, but that's because we're pretty much just going to do models. I'm going to go ahead and download the slides. You probably don't even need to bother, honestly. We're just going to download a few spreadsheet models and work through them together. So we're picking up on slide 25. There's now cat hair flying around me. That's occupational hazard. Slide 25, and here's basically what we're going to do today. 5 functions. Now, if you are an Excel power user, then I'm sorry I'm about to bore you, but please feel free to help me answering questions for other students. But for everybody else, some of you may have never seen Excel hardly before this class, and I recognize that what we've done in this class for Excel has probably not really helped you with spreadsheet modeling and things like that, things you haven't done before. So we're actually going to work on that today. So there are 5 main functions that we're going to cover. And so we'll cover each of these 3 gray lines here, these like subheadings, in a separate spreadsheet. So the first one we're going to do are sum, and the first pair we're going to do is sum and sum product. So the sum function adds up all of the numbers in a range of cells. I just remembered that I think I forgot to. Oh, no, I did. Okay, good. So we're going to add up all the numbers in a range of cells. So I have like 3 things. I want to add them all together. Sum. The sum product is you multiply all the things, and then you add together all the products. So product is the same thing as multiply. So you do a bunch of multiplication, and then you do addition for all of the resulting products. So those are the 2 things that we're going to cover in this model. So this is the Foster. Is this Gambrel? Foster. Okay. So we're going to take a look at Foster generators. So everybody please, I clicked on the wrong thing. That's right. This one? That one. Okay. Let's all go to the data files. And just to kind of save some time, so this is chapter 10. So chapter 10 data files. We did Nolan in class last time, so we're not going to look at that again. You see these other 3 in classes: Foster in class, Gambrel in class, and Granite in class. We're going to want all 3 of these. So just go ahead and download them. I'm going to choose Open With. You can save them if you want. I already have copies of it, so I don't really need to save it. But just go ahead and save them all. Nope, not turning this in. We're just working together. I would encourage you to save them because I think it's worthwhile. That's why we're spending class time to do it. But you're not turning it in. No. And in fact, so the in class is the blank version, and the not in class, just the one word Gambrel, is the solution. So I've already provided the solution, but I think it's worth going through the process together. And in the slides, it shows the solutions and the formulas and all that kind of stuff. But I would rather you see the thought process and actually do it yourself. I think that's worth the time. So that's really the exercise here. Okay. You don't need data mining. Regular Excel is fine. So actually, that's a really good thing. Let me talk about that. So we are after chapter 9, which chapter 9 is not concluded. I've got to make those videos. You still got to do the homework probably. After chapter 9, there is no more data mining. No more analytic solver. We're done. Finished. Concluded. Complete. Fine. Yep, Foster, Gambrel, Granite. That's right. So, this is it. Chapter 9 is the last one, which is part of why I wasn't trying to spend much time on it. I want to just get it done and done and dusted, as they say. But it's being a pain. So that's the issue. Okay, so we're going to start with Foster. Okay, so here we have this is a shipping model. So we have various destinations, places we're shipping things to, and then we have origins. So coming from our origins, going to our destinations, these are the shipping costs per unit, which is probably like pounds or something like that, depending on what you're doing here. Square feet, maybe. So let's say we have Cleveland, which has a total available supply of 5,000 units, and it would cost $3 per unit to send from Cleveland to Boston, $2 from Cleveland to Chicago. Sorry. Chicago. Of all the ones that have a typo on. She's not going to get punished. I'm sorry for Jessica. She's not going to get punished for it. It's not fun. The video's here for her afterwards. This is Foster in class. And I just fixed the typo because it said Chicago instead of Chicago with an I. Anyway, so you see we have supply capacity. We have demand for a unit. So like we don't need to send more than 6,000 to Boston. We don't need to send more than 5,000, or we can't send more than 5,000 from Cleveland. And then you say from here to there. From here to there is this one. From here to there is this one, and so on. So it's the cost per unit. So this is our input data. These are our parameters. So if you remember from last time, we have that separate. So that's up at the top, which I'm apparently symbolizing with raising the roof. Yes, Dana, that's a good point, actually. This is Foster in class, not regular Foster. I said Foster meaning to differentiate between Gambrel and Granite, but all of them are the in-class versions. If you download the regular one, it'll look the same. It'll just have some blanks. It'll have fewer blanks. Like this will have formulas, this will have formulas, and this will have a formula. We're getting there. Okay, so I'm just trying to build an appreciation that we have parameters at the top. We've entered our data. We have our demand. We have our supply, and then the per unit shipping costs. And then we've come up with a shipping plan. So we're going to ship 5,000 units from Cleveland to Boston. We're going to send 1,000 units from Bedford to Boston, 4,000 units from Bedford to Chicago, 1,000 units from Bedford to St. Louis, 1,000 from York to St. Louis, and 1,500 from York to Lexington. Okay, so this is our shipping plan. But we need to make sure we don't exceed this and we meet this. We have exactly this amount. Okay, so we're going to make sure that if you add all these together, we don't exceed this. If we add all these together, we don't exceed this. If we add all these together, we don't exceed that. So let's start there. The first thing we do is you can, by the way, if you want, you could do this plus this plus this plus this. That's an option. Remember, by the way, I should start with this. Start the formula with an equal sign. It's very important. Okay, so equals, and then click, plus click, plus click, plus click. You can do this. I don't want you to. Don't do that. But you could. More better solution. What you could do, it'd be even better, is if you just use the little sum formula. A preferable solution is the sum formula. So, with any formula in Excel, you type equals, and then you type the name of the formula, and then open with a parentheses. The Excel does not know it's a formula if it does not have a parentheses. So, equals sum, open parentheses, and then we just click and drag, like so. Click and drag, release the cursor, and close the parentheses. If you don't close the parentheses in a simple formula, Excel is smart enough to fix it. But on a complicated formula, Excel will not fix it. It will throw an error, and it will complain until you resolve the syntax issues, meaning the sequence of parentheses and stuff issues. So it's just a good habit to go ahead and close it before you hit enter. So it should just say sum, B17, E17, and then you choose enter. And this is an obvious answer, right? 5,000 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0. We already knew the answer. It's not hard in this example. In fact, none of these additions are too difficult. But we want to build the formula, so in case you have complicated numbers, it can go in complicated ways, and that's fine. So here's where we really make the money. If you've never heard of this before, there is something called the fill handle that is about to change your life. Okay, it's cool. That's probably a bit dramatic, but it's changed my life. Probably literally, actually. I love spreadsheets. I took a class that was just this kind of thing, like just spreadsheet modeling, and I kind of fell in love with it. I started to really enjoy it. I hated it at first, but then it started to become like a logic puzzle, and it's part of the reason I went to get a PhD, is I just loved these kinds of like, how do I think about the problem? How do I understand it? And how do I build the formulas and stuff to work? It gets me all going. I know. I was a nerd before I got a PhD, but now it's just like publicly confirmed. Anyway, so the fill handle. So what's cool about this is you see this little green corner down here? This little green corner. So you click, if you hover your cursor, so you see right now, my cursor is a white open plus sign, basically. Yeah? If I move my cursor over the green thing, it turns to a black plus sign. See that? That means I have got the fill handle. hovered. We call it hovering. And then if I click on it, so you can see, you can tell I'm clicking because in the bottom left corner of the screen, way over there, you see that drag outside selection thing popping up? Click, 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 click. Oops. Oh, don't do that. Okay. If I click and drag this down, it copies the formula from here to here to here. And it adjusts the cell references accordingly as it moves down, which I can change. There's times you don't want it to do that, but when you do, it's real nice. And so just like that, look, I've got all my summations done. And I can confirm that my formula is working by looking down here in the text. If you're looking at a phone right now, oh, you can't see it. Hold on. Let me move my head. Okay, so you see down here. There we go, down here. I have some descriptive statistics pulled up. And if you're not seeing it, you can right-click on the bar down here, and you can pick which ones you want. So there's all kinds of like buttons and permissions and all these cool things you can have selected. But then you have like the count. I have all of mine turned on. Average, count, minimum, maximum, sum, all of them. And so I get all these descriptive statistics, and so I can tell immediately, okay, good, my summation formula is working. So that's a handy little thing you can do. Okay, so all three of those are working. Let's do the same thing for the columns because we want to make sure, which by the way, we need to make sure we're matching this. Yeah, if you want to have descriptive statistics, very basic stuff shown for whatever data you have selected, you can right-click where it says average or count or min. In this bar down here, this very last bar is called the status bar. And if you right-click on it, it'll bring up this menu here. And then these options here will let you select which of the descriptive statistics you want shown. Usually, I think it comes with like minimum, maximum, average maybe as the default. I forget. I always change it, so I don't actually know what the defaults are. I always try to change it whenever I can. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. Average, count, and sum. Okay, I was kind of close. Average, count, and sum. So I have all of mine turned on. It doesn't matter. It's personal preference. It's not, I've never had anyone talk about it in the class that I took, but I think it's worth doing. Okay, let's move on. So we've matched 5, 6, 2, 5, 5, 6, 25. Perfect. We're good to go there. So let's check our totals for the destinations. Same idea. We type in a sum formula. Oh, Jessica, good. I'm sorry about your connection. I'm glad you made it back. We're working on the Foster in-class spreadsheet. We don't have time to go back in detail, but you can watch the VOD for what you missed. So we're going to be taking the sum of, I'm sorry, not of that. What am I doing? Of this. The sum of the three numbers below Boston. Sum B17 through B19, which you can type in the text. I'm clicking and dragging. Really, you want to get in the habit of clicking and dragging for a number of reasons. It's far better. Although on a trackpad, it's kind of sucks. It's not as better, not as much better. But on a desktop, hopefully, which is how you'll be working most of the time, where you have a mouse, it's worth it. And by the way, you can plug in a mouse to a laptop, so or like a wireless one. I am a big believer. I carry a wireless mouse in my laptop bag all the time. Okay, so B17 to B19. We hit enter. I hit myself in the face with the microphone again. It's fine. And then we fill handle across this time. So make the formula, fill handle it over. It's that simple. And then again, we can check our numbers. 6,000, yep, 4,000, 2,000, 1,500. It's always a good idea to use your brain and make sure that what you've done makes sense. So we can now confirm that 6,000, 6,000, okay, that matches 4,000, 4,000, 2,000, 2,000, 1,500, 1,500. Great, our demand checks out. So those are just kind of verification things, and actually what you're going to see in Chapter 11 is that these formulas are required. They're not just nice and convenient, they are required. But for now, as we're doing things the easy, old-fashioned way, they're simply luxuries, but they will become required. Now, the last thing, the most important thing, is the cost. So sure, you have to meet your constraints. You have to meet your demand. You have to stay within your supply capacity. But what really matters is the total cost. Is your solution good or not? Sure, it's feasible, but is it good? So, well, how do we know what our cost is? Well, we shipped 5,000 from Cleveland to Boston, and that cost us $3 a piece. So that's 15,000. We shipped 1,000 from Bedford to Boston, and that costs $6,000. 4,000 from Bedford to Chicago at $5 a piece, so that's 20,000, and we can keep going like this. And then we add them all together. Well, this is a perfect circumstance for a sum product. So we can let Excel do the multiplication for all 12 of the multiplications, so this times that, all 12 of them, and then adds them all up for us automatically. This is a sum product formula. And see how easy this is. It's fantastic. You type in sum product, and by the way, if you type in sum P and then push tab, it's the only one that'll come up. Sum P, and we just click and drag for our first matrix, our first array, click and drag for the second array. And close the parentheses. So you take the blue one, you're telling Excel, take the blue one and the red one. Those are my two matrices, and I want you to multiply the top left of both, the middle left of both, the bottom left of both, the top inner left times the top inner left, the middle inner left, bottom middle inner left. So go piece by piece, multiply together. No, order doesn't matter here. It just matters that you have two matrices of the same size. It has to be, in this case, it's 3 by 4. They both have to be 3 by 4. It's multiplication, so it doesn't matter if you do one first before the other. If it was like division, it would matter, but this is a multiplication, so it doesn't make any difference. I generally believe in doing top and then bottom, but it doesn't really matter. Or left and then right. Doesn't matter. At best, it makes it easier to find things, but in small models, it doesn't matter. It's color-coded anyway. So, and then hit enter. $54,500. Think about how annoying that was going to be to add them all together. It's going to suck. But that's all there is to it. Some product, click and drag, done. That's pretty cool, right? This formula has a lot of uses. You will find that it's valuable in a lot of places. It allows you to bulk a lot of tasks, do them all at once. It's pretty great. Okay, so I'd love to say, do you have any questions? And then spend 20 minutes answering them. We would be out of time, so we can't do that. So go ahead, save this somewhere if you want to. Again, this is just the Foster in-class model. This is just the Foster model. It's now complete. Other than the typos, there's no difference. So you can save it if you want to. But for the moment, don't close it. We're going to come back to these at the end of things. I want to show you a couple other things along the way. We've got a few minutes left. Okay, that was Foster's. All right. We're going to do Gambrel, so if you want to get that pulled up, we're going to do two things. And these are logical if something functions. So what can happen is, depending on circumstances, you might want to do one thing, or you might want to do something else. And that is what we call an if statement. It's a conditional statement. So what we do is you put in a logical test, like if this number is bigger than that number, do this thing. And if that number is not bigger than that number, then do a different thing. And that's how it works in Excel. So you see we have this if condition, like if blank is bigger than other blank. Oops. I'm going to have the highlighter. If blank is bigger than other blank, then do this. However, if blank is not bigger than other blank, do this. So you have condition, outcome 1, outcome 2, in that order. Order is very important here. Don't get it backwards. Or as my friend Tyler would say, don't get it twisted. I miss him. He moved to Korea. He's a teacher now. My boy Tyler. Oh well, it's all good. He's living a better life, except for all the coronavirus there. Actually, I think they're doing okay. No. Anyway, so the other thing is sort of a similar idea, a conditional counting. So we just did the sum, right, where we add up all the numbers in a group. But the other thing you might want to do is you might want to count something conditionally. And there is a sum if function as well. But we'll make it simpler for now. We just want to say, like, let's say I have sales data, monthly sales data for the year, and I want to know how many months I made more than $10,000. Or the example on the screen here says, how many components have a positive order quantity? This is what we're going to use it for in our example. This is very important. The idea is just of a range, how many of them meet a certain criteria, and it just tells you a number, which is really, really useful. So what we're going to do is we're looking at Gambrel Manufacturing, which is producing car stereos. Now, Gambrel has a policy where it keeps its components inventory to a minimum. So it uses an inventory policy, which is known as an order up to policy, which I think you'll see in 377 in production ops management. Whenever the inventory on hand drops below a certain level, enough units are ordered to return that inventory to some predetermined level. Okay, so that's the idea. Let's go to Gambrel Manufacturing, Gambrel in class, and let's... Sorry, my sister is asking for help for dinner. Sorry. Okay, let's take a look at Gambrel spreadsheet. Okay, so we have 4 products here, all right? If this would go away, that would be great. Okay. We have 4 products. We have 570, 578, 741, and 755. And for those 4 component IDs, we have the inventory that we currently have. So what inventory do we actually have? We have the order up to point, and then we have our cost per unit. So if I order a component, what's it going to cost me? Now we have a kind of a thing, a part of our arrangement with our inventory people, our stockers, our supplier. There's the word. Wow, suppliers. Sorry. That is $120 to place an order. However, if we place an order that is at least 50 units, we get a 10% discount. So it's discounted to 90%, which is really nice. And so that we want to look at, okay, if our inventory right now, what do we need to order? What are we low on, and what do we need to order? So we have hit the point where we are ready for an order, and so we just calculate the difference between the order up to point and what we have on hand, and we're going to order that. So, I need 100, I have 5, so I'm going to order 95 to get up to my order up to point, right? I have 55, I want 55, I have 30, I order 25. Now in this case, right here, hopefully, it should be obvious, I want 70, I have 70. So what do I order? None, right? None. Now, the interesting thing here is that the way we've structured this order, these orders are considered independent. So we're not placing one order where we're going to order a bunch of parts. Each part is separate. So presumably this is maybe 4 different suppliers, or for some reason it's independent. So we have all of these inputs, and now we need to construct our model for the solution to find the big money maker, which is the total cost. So this is what we're going to right here. This is all that matters. It's this bad boy down here. Which actually I shouldn't highlight it that way. That's something else. Okay, so let's just start with, let's just copy our part numbers from the top. So all I did was click enter and then choose the ID for the component. So I just said, whatever we're calling the component ID up there, put that number down here. You could copy and paste, but then if something changes up here, those changes will not be reflected in your component IDs below. So it's much better to go ahead and use the equal sign, the reference, and make sure it works correctly. So, and then I use the fill handle to move it over. Order quantity. Well, it is 100 minus 5, right? Right? Well, only if we have fewer inventory on hand than we have in our order up to point. What if someone like returned a part or something, or we lost the part, so we ordered it and then we found it again? It happens. You wouldn't think it would in modern day industry, but it does. Stuff disappears. So actually, this isn't really the best practice. What you really want to do is you want to say, well, how much do I have? If the order up to point is greater than, you can't see this all at once, can you? Okay, that's awkward too. How about this? Okay, there we go. If the order up to point is greater than what I have on hand, which is what we would expect, then we just do, actually, in fact, it's greater than or equal to. So if these numbers, if the order up to point is the same or more than the inventory. So as long as we don't have more inventory than the order up to point, then we do what you'd expect. We say B5 minus B4. We say take the order up to point and subtract away whatever I have. And then if I already have what I need, then we just order nothing. Right? Which means we actually don't need the equal sign. So you'll get the same result either way. This is slightly simpler. I can make it a little bigger, but I'm going to have to zoom back out. Look down here. Not this. Don't look at this one. Look down here. If you're on a phone, this is going to be hard to follow along with. There's not much I can do about that. You may want to watch it on a laptop or something later. And again, remember, there's a completed solution already on D2L. This is just what we're working on for the example. Okay, so if we have some weird scenario, then we're in trouble. But as the normal circumstance will be, we don't have as much as we want to have, right? Our order up to point is more than we have. That's normal. Then we just order the difference. Otherwise, we order 0. Okay. And then we just use our fill handle. As we expected, we're not ordering any. So again, we can just double check. That should be 95, right? 100 minus 5. This should be 55 minus 30, 25. This should be 0. And then 45 minus 17 is a little bit harder math, but it's 28. Okay, so far so good. Now, what is our cost of goods? Well, our cost of goods is simply the order quantity, right? It's how many we're ordering times the price for each item. You know, I want 3 2 liters of Dr. Pepper. Each 2 liter costs $2. 3 times 2 is $6. In this case, it's 95 units at $4.50, but the same process. Just multiply them across. There's no difference. It's the same. If you want to think about that in detail, you can, but it doesn't make any difference here. So the difference comes in the exact equals case. So in the instance of equals, you say if they are exactly equal, then do B5 minus B4. What's that going to be? If they're the same, what is one thing minus the other? 0. Well, if I don't put the equals there, then that equals case will get kicked into the second scenario, which is already defaulted at equals. So it doesn't make a difference. Okay, so we've got our cost of goods sold. Okay. And then we need to know, because we have to pay each time we place an order. So how many orders do we have? Well, it's any time that our order quantity is more than 0. That is a count if formula. So we're just going to count our range here if the range is greater than 0. Now, here's the interesting thing. Excel doesn't take it this way. And I wanted to just show you the error. I knew it was going to happen. Don't worry. So here's the weird thing. The way you have to actually do this, well, properly. Okay, so it's not the parentheses that it doesn't like, just to show you. Okay, so what you have to do, it's really weird. I don't know why it works this way. I kind of do, but I kind of don't. Is you have to put quotation marks around the greater than sign. And you have to put an ampersand between them. That's the shift 7 that squirrely do. Shift 7. So you go quote, greater than, quote, ampersand. So basically what's happening is you're making a text, you're identifying that this shape is text, and then you're combining it with the 0. So if you know, ampersand is like is an and symbol, so it means combine in Excel speak. So you make the thing, combine it with 0. It's just how it works. Why? It is. Okay, total number of orders is 3. We're running out of time. I'm sorry. If you're kind of feeling overwhelmed, go back and watch the video again. It'll start to feel better as you work through and build these models. We have 3 orders. Each one costs us $120. Oh, we skipped something. The discount. So it's not quite as simple as we thought. So we have to include a discount. And this is okay. This is how spreadsheet modeling can work, is you can realize, oh no, I've missed something. In fact, I tell you what, I'm going to leave it for now. And I'm going to show you, at the last few minutes, we'll talk about how to solve problems of things that we've missed. Actually, let's just move on. I'll show you. We'll just do it. So let's even though I've realized I've made a mistake, let's pretend that I didn't know. Cost of goods sold, nice and easy. Sum of the goods sold, okay, just as easy as that. Sum of those 4 things, which means that my total cost of goods is fixed costs plus cost of goods sold. Sum the 2 together. It's that easy. Cool, we did it. That's the whole thing. Now, let's say that I wanted to make sure that I had remembered to put these two things in there. And I wanted to know if I had successfully included these. So if you're having issues with your formula, under the Formulas tab up on the ribbon up here, and I'm going to hide that Discord thing for the moment because it's kind of in the way. Or maybe I'll just resize it. Whoa, that wasn't it. Why is it like this? It's like hilariously too big. What's going on? All right, that'll work. It's out of the way now. Okay, so up here on the Formulas tab is a thing called Formula Auditing, and it gives you a lot of tools to solve problems. So, for example, I can click Trace Dependence, and what's supposed to happen, this is what is supposed to happen. It makes a big arrow, and it says fixed cost per order is being used right here under total fixed costs. Good. That makes sense. And then to make this go away, I click Remove Arrows. However, what happened? Trace Dependence. The Trace Dependence command found no formulas that refer to the active cell. I haven't used this entirely. Well, that's no good. I need to include this somewhere. Where does it go? In the cost of goods sold. So what I missed was that I forgot to discount this price based on the order quantity. So what does that mean? Well, I'm going to put a comma here, which will give myself some separation so I can have my own. I'm just working on the first condition. So what's the condition? Is my order quantity big enough to get a discount? So is order quantity as big as the discount? Yes or no? Okay. If it is, then we're going to do our multiple, as we said before. 450 times 95. Yes. But also times 90%. So that's going to get slid down. If that's not the case, if there's no discount, then we just do 450 times 95. So it should be the same thing. B16 times B6, B16 times B6. But we just don't put in the discount. Okay? So let me expand this formula right here so you can see it. This is the full completed form. It's a little long and gnarly, but hopefully it makes sense. If you have enough sold to make the discount, include the discount. Otherwise, don't include the discount. However, there's a problem with what we've done, and I'll show you right now. If I fill handle this across, these all zero out. Why? Because remember, the fill handle moves all the cells over, and we didn't want these two to move. So there's a little trick for this. It's a weird thing to remember, but the F4 key, I'm going to put it in the chat, F4, not Alt F4, don't push that, just F4. The F4 key locks cells in place with something called absolute cell referencing. So it's the green and the red ones we don't want to move. So if you're colorblind, you'll have to do it the hard way, which is looking at the cell references. If you're not colorblind, good news. You get to do this the easier way and just say, okay, where's the green one? All right, this is the green one. Put your cursor in it and push F4. Where's the red one? Right here. Push F4. Okay, hit enter and try your formula dragging again. And then hopefully it looks like this. All right, good. My absolute cell references have worked. And this will change my cost down to $1,173. Okay, so that's we've done some product, if, COUNTIF, and absolute cell references. We also talked about the auditing tools. So there's some other auditing tools. The main one that's most useful is if you're having trouble. So let's look at that right now. You're going, oh man, this cost of goods sold formula is complicated. I want to make sure it's working correctly. Okay, so then you use this evaluate formula button. You click on this and it'll bring up a window. And I apologize, it's kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can make it a little bigger. I don't want the lens view though. I want the full screen. Okay. Oh no. That's not at all what I wanted it to do. It's multiplying everything. Oh! Okay. Does that look okay? This is awful for two monitors. Oh, it's lagging. Oh, gosh. Okay. Well, I hope you can see that. I think you can. Okay, so it just looks like a hot mess, though. What if I zoom in more? Okay, that's better. All right. But then you can't see what's going on. All right, well, you'll just have to try this on your own. It's really hard to see on the stream, I know. Oh, yes, I forgot. With Apple, it's Command R. It's either Command R or Command T. I think it's Command R. It could be Command T. Try one of those two. It's one of those two. I forget. I'm sorry. Thank you for asking. So the way it works here, and I know you can't, I know you're not going to be able to read it, but it gives you an underlined cell, B16, and then you click Evaluate, and it tells you what that is. Oh, it's in this case, it's 95, and I'm sure you can't read this. I'm sorry. If you really zoom in, maybe you'll be able to. B10. Okay, what's B10? It's 50. And now, okay, great. We've pulled in what those cells mean. So is 95 greater than or equal to 50? Yes or no? Yes, it is. So it says true here. Okay, so since it's true, we go into the first thing of the commas. If it said false, we'd go into the second part. And so I would say B16 times B6 times B11. What are those three numbers? And we multiply them all together, step by step, and we get 384.75. And then the whole thing's underlined. So what does the entire statement mean? It means it comes out to 384.75. So it'll show you the process. It's Command T. Okay, Command T. Now I've learned. Now I remember. I think I used to tell myself Command Toggle, if that makes any sense. T for toggle. The idea here is that the formula works for everything. Okay, so this formula allows you to check out awkward things that are like really complicated, and you can go step by step and figure out what's going wrong. So that can be really useful when things aren't coming out the way that you expect, but that requires that you be thinking. Folks, we are out of time. I want to show you one more model. I'm happy to stay after. If you cannot stay after, I'm going to stay for about another 10 minutes probably, and we'll do the last model. And if you can't stay, if you got to go, that's perfectly fine. Just catch the VOD. Come take a look at the video once I get it published for the last 10 minutes, and you can see what you missed there. All right, so if you got to go, Rashad, take care. If you got to go, see you later. Take a look at the video when you get a chance, though. Okay. Last thing is VLOOKUP. This is the most complicated of the formulas. It's the hardest one, but it has the most sophisticated uses. So, is it as useful? Well, I don't know. Some product is really useful. Some is really useful. Product things, count if, they're all really useful. So picking a best one. Yes, all videos are always recorded. All lectures are recorded. They're all posted. Online learning resources to online lectures. They're all right here. There's more. They're all here. That's where they go. Oops, not that one. Okay, so what does VLOOKUP do? There's a VLOOKUP and a similar HLOOKUP. One of them means vertical lookup. The other one means horizontal lookup. So the idea is if your data is organized in a traditional format where you have like the labels, so you have like columns which are like variables, and then you have like maybe it's people or something, and so the person itself is down the left side, or maybe the chapter 9 or whatever chapter number is listed on the left. You have some kind of identifying information is listed on the left. Then what you can do is you can look up a particular column, meaning like I want to know the information from the third column about chapter 7. And so you can say I want a particular row and a particular column. And so you're going to be able to find where on the table you're looking based on those two things. However, you have to know already both the desired row label and then which column you're pulling from. And so here's the syntax here. I think explaining it is probably more trouble than it's worth instead of just seeing it in person. So let me just show you. So we're going to use, the Granite Insurance model. So our last one we haven't seen yet, Granite Insurance. Granite Insurance, which is so it's like a sales, an insurance salesman company. So you have a whole bunch of people. It looks like 5, but actually if you look carefully at the row numbers, 15, 16, 17, 18, 29. There are like 10. I think there are 10 salespeople that are hidden here. So I'm just going to quickly unhide. You see, there are more people, right? So there's more folks in here that we're not seeing. I'm using undo and redo to show you that there's all those folks in there. Okay. So what are we going to do? Well, the way it works is you are trying to incentivize good salespeople, right? So I've given them a target. And then if they exceed their target, we give them a bonus. But if everyone exceeds target, then we're going to give more bonus to the people who exceed their mark by more. So the better you sell compared to your compatriots, the better your bonus. So there's a total amount of money, $250,000, that are going to be given for the bonus, and then it's going to be distributed based on how well you outperform. So in the case of 83%, Barth, our first person, if we look at the margins here, if you oversell your target by between 0 and 10%, you don't get any bonus. If you sell by 11% to 50%, then you're awarded 10 points. And again, the point system is how they differentiate who gets more and who gets less. If you sell half again extra your target, which is like a lot, up to 79%, you get 15 points. If you're 80% above your target to 100% above your target, you make 25 bonus points. And if you double your mark or more, you get 40 bonus points. So let's take a look at the first one, 83%. 83% is more than 80 and less than 99. So this person should get 25 points. So you see how I did there? I said 83. I look for it. My eyes look here. And then I say, okay, I found the relevant one. And so I want to pull out the bonus points that are in that row. Right? Take this, look for it here, and then go to the right from whatever I find. That is what the VLOOKUP function does. So, equals VLOOKUP, and then you see I have these 4 tooltips down here. Again, they're really small, probably hard to read on your screen. But the idea is we're going to look up this value. Well, I clicked and it moved. You can't really see it. So this is B15. Under my cursor, the above target sales, percent above target sales, right where my cursor is right now, making the little circles at it. The formula is covering it because of how the zoom is working. I apologize. That's Excel's fault. Okay. So I'm looking up B15. Where? Well, this is the trickiest part of the whole thing. The way the VLOOKUP works is it assumes that you are looking up the value in the leftmost column of whatever table you select, which unfortunately, with the way that VLOOKUP works, is we don't want to select the whole table. What we want to do is we want to select specifically these 2. So the reason we do this is because the way the lookup works is it looks at in an approximate match. So the number 83% does not appear on our table. It falls between 79 and 99. So what we want it to do is we want it to take 99 because that is the first number that is bigger than 83%. And we want it to do that because that's how this table is designed. You have to be very careful about getting what you want to happen. Now, additionally, we want this table to stay in place. So after I click and drag, I haven't done anything else. I haven't clicked off. I can push F4 to get the absolute cell references. If you do click off, you can come back and you can click and drag somewhere in these cells like I've done here, and you can keep pushing F4 to toggle it back. But if you just click and drag, you can immediately hit F4 and it will do the whole thing automatically. Okay, so push comma to take me to the next argument, which says column index number. Okay, so which column of the red table am I looking for? Well, I found my value in column 1, and I want the value out of column 2, so I just type in the number 2, which will pull out the bonus points number. And then the last thing that I have to do is tell it if I'm looking for an exact match or an approximate match. So if the number, if I want to find exactly 83%, then I would choose the exact match, which you get by typing in false, which is kind of weird how it works. But that's not what I want. What I want is I want it to give me the closest thing, which in terms is not actually the closest thing. What I want it to do is find the first number that is bigger than it, but the smallest one. So I'm going to choose true. So you can click on it, I think. I usually just use the tab key, or you can type it in. Any of those things work. So, in summary, VLOOKUP, B15, comma, B7 to C12, absoluted, so with the F4 or Command T, comma, column 2, comma, and true. I know, there's a lot to unpack here, but if you're lost, come back and watch it again. Maybe watch it at slower speed or something. You can do that in YouTube. But if we've done it right, we should be getting 15. You know what? Maybe, let's see. It's possible that I'm backwards. Let's see. And I did practice this beforehand. Did I get it wrong that time? Oh, okay. So, this is why you always use your brain. Because if you make a mistake, you can fix it. So, I was thinking that I had how VLOOKUP works backwards in my head. So I just explained it poorly. So what's actually happening, as we've just discovered, by this is actually the proper way. A7 getting from A, B, and C, and using the third column. That's the right way. This is why you always use your brain. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. So always use your brain. So when you look at it and you go 15 points, oh darn, you can fix it. Use your brain. Use your brain. Use your brain. So what are we actually getting? VLOOKUP. So for the record, I almost never use VLOOKUPs that are not exact matches. It's rare that you'd actually use it this way. But this is a condition where actually using an approximate match is appropriate. It does happen. Okay, so it's the, we'll say, how do I explain it better? So you go, by the way, this has to be sorted. If it's not sorted, then it freaks out. The VLOOKUP doesn't work properly. I don't even know what happens if it's not sorted. So it's sorted in increasing values, and then, actually, this makes more sense now that I think about it. Okay, so as you, as the numbers are going, so it's looking for 83%, right? It's looking for 83%, and it sees 0%. Okay, that's not it. And it comes down, and it says 11%. That's not 83%. 51%. That's not 83%. 80%. Oh, we're getting close. 83, 80%. Okay, still not quite there yet. Keep going. 100%. I've passed it. So then it goes back to the last row before passing the value that you needed. So the last value before passing the one you needed is this row right here, and so it gives us 25. And yes, Natalia just asked about, you have to change from the second column. If you leave this, you can't really see it. Come on, there we go. If you leave the column index number at 2, it will look up and give you the 0.99, which will round to 1 bonus point. And so like Natalia got, she got just 1 bonus point. So not only do we have to change the lookup range, we have to change the column as well. And for the record, I'm not sure if you saw me do this, but okay. So this is what we had before. So you don't have to go in and edit the formula directly. You don't have to delete it and start it over. You just have to, you can click on the border down here. You see my cursor changes to a little arrow key. You can just click and drag over. And then, of course, so if you don't change the column, it'll go to 1 like this. And then change the number of columns to 3. And there we have it. Okay, so with this, we can formula fill handle down. And yeah, so the cool thing is with these hidden cells, it'll fill all the way through. So you don't have to necessarily like unhide the cells and then edit it. However, something to keep in mind is when you use the fill handle, it's also filling formatting. So it's broken my underlining here. So I'm going to go in and click on this little gray box down here, which yours will probably be white. I have mine on like dark mode. So yours will be a white box. And then choose the third option, fill without formatting. And when you choose that, it'll preserve the underline here. Okay, the total is easy. How many bonus points? Oh my gosh. I need to delete that reminder. Okay. The total, yes, we want to count the hidden employees. We're just making this easier to fit on the screen for demonstration purposes. So we're getting all of the people. We should be getting 295, although it's worth noting, if you look down here at the bottom, this is not counting the hidden cells. I know you can't see it on the preview, but if you just cover it with the thing, because my webcam's in the way, but it says 100 for the sum. So the actual total's getting it right. This is not. Just the covering it doesn't work properly. Okay, so what percentage points is the total, or what percentage of the total is 25%? Well, that's simply a division problem. C15, divided by C30. It's 8.5%. That should make sense, right? 25 over about 300 is pretty close to a tenth of 25 divided by 30. So, yeah, that seems like it makes sense. However, we're going to fall victim to the absolute cell reference again. So we need to make sure we absolute cell reference the C30, or else it will drift down as we fill. And unless we're calling Uncle Kracker, we don't want it to drift away. When we fill handle. And once again, we'll fill without formatting. And just as a double check, we can copy and paste our total formula and make sure we should get 100%, which we did. Good. And then finally, we're going to multiply the percent of pool times the bonus pool. Now, in this case, we need to absolute cell reference. Again, we absolute cell reference the bonus pool and fill handle down. Finally, choosing fill without formatting. So that's it. That's the idea. That is how it works. And then once again, if we want, we can go ahead and make sure that we've got this correct. Yes, our sum of all of them is that number, the bonus pool. So, good. Everything checks out. That's how it works. So, that's everything that we need to cover. Sorry, this took an extra 17 minutes. Thanks for hanging in there, those of you who've stayed. That's it. That's everything for today. I'm going to cut the recording. I will put the outro slide up, and I'll hang around for a little bit. If you want to ask some questions in the chat, I'll be here. And I can, I'll be on Discord later. But that's it. That's it for today. So if you have any questions, let me know. See ya.